Hello, my name is John and welcome to my NEStalgiaholic channel. And in this review I'll be going over the Battlestar Galactica board game by Parker Brothers. This was released in 1978. I'm a big fan of the original Battlestar Galactica show, and this is during the time that it was originally being aired. Will this board game live up to the greatness of the original show? Well, let's find out. Before I dive into what's in this game, I just want to briefly explain a background of Battlestar Galactica to give it some relevance in case for those who don't know what this show is about. It was a show released by Glenn Larson in 1978. It only lasted 24 seasons. And keep in mind, during this time in the late 70s, Star Wars was very popular. Star Wars had been released in 1977, a year prior. It was a huge success worldwide. And so Glenn Larson decided to create kind of a TV series, not really based on Star Wars, but very similar in concept as far as sci-fi. You got your Battlestar Galactica ship. This is the mothership. There's a ragtag fleet, and a brief history is basically they're from Kobol. There's 12 colonies. Their planet's been destroyed. They are survivors, and they're looking for Earth. So they're on a mission to find Earth, and it is a really fun series. I really enjoyed it. Baltar is the main bad guy in it, but there's Cylons, which are kind of android-looking dudes, and they fly these things called Raptors. And there's the Vipers are the good ships, and the Raptors are the bad ships. Really, if you're a big fan of sci-fi, I definitely recommend checking it out. 1980 saw a rebirth for a very short time for a kind of continued story that didn't last very long. 2003 Sci-Fi Channel released a remake of Battlestar Galactica. Loved it. It lasted for about 4 seasons or so. Fantastic series, really high production value, awesome. So now that you know about Battlestar Galactica, let's open this up. Actually, let's look on the back real quick. And we've got the board itself, we got the spinner, we've got some cards that look like a little paragraph about Battlestar Galactica itself, which is cool. So let's open this up. And we're going to see, this is the board. Let's see, you have 4 quadrants here. It's a 4-player game, you need 4 players to play it. Each player has a different color to them, and there's they start in these spots right here, okay? I've got the instructions, which will always come in handy. Here's a spinner. There's no die in this game. Instead of using die, you actually use a spinner. And these are your Vipers. These are the good guys. And each color, like this green, would start with the green corner there. You got these cards. You got command cards. You have evasive action cards. I'll explain how those will play in here in a second. The only thing I'm missing is the actual Cylon Raptor. So instead of using the Cylon Raptor, which I don't have, I found this token. This is from Zones. This is an old arcade I used to go to up in Bellevue, Washington a lot. This is my lucky coin, so I'm going to use that. The Cylon Raptor starts here. Let's see some gameplay and show you how to play this. Everything is set up. We got our player. Each player has a color code, goes into the particular quadrant that they're in. There are also these command cards, which are color coded. So the yellow player will get the yellow cards, green player will get the green cards, etc. so forth. There are 3 different command cards you have. You have your turbo thrust, you have your laser torpedo, you also have a force field. Each of them play a different role in utilizing them. There's some strategy involved as far as when you want to use them and how often you want to use them. And each player also gets 3 of these evasive action cards, which also play a very important role. I'll explain what the cards do a little later on. The object of the game is to get to the Cylon Raptor in the middle and bring him back to your area. And whoever does that first wins the game. To determine who goes first, you have the spinner here. You roll, you spin it. There's no die in this game, and whoever spins the highest number goes first, and it goes clockwise order. So let's move. Let's start with the red here. Go 5. You can move spaces horizontally or vertically. You cannot move diagonally. So we can move 5 spots. These are black holes. If you land on a black hole, it actually can transport you to any other black hole here. So if I land, for example, on a black hole here, I can go to this one, that one, this one. It doesn't really matter where I move. You don't have to land on exactly either. So if I roll 5 and I'm only 2 spots away, I can do that. Now if I land on the Viper, I'm actually going to take the Viper, and he's going to be with me. My object is to go back. Okay. Now if another player, say the player yellow, is next to me, he challenges me. But he has to be next to me or maybe diagonally from me as well. But in order to challenge me, and whoever spins the highest number gets to keep that Cylon Raptor, while the other player who loses gets a spin, has to move away. So that's interesting. Now, as far as these cards into play, Okay, now I'm going to talk about these command cards real quick because these are really cool. There's 3 command cards as I mentioned before. You have your laser torpedoes. Laser torpedoes is a really cool card to have because what it does is you have to spin once and it determines how many blasts you have. So I landed on a 5. That means I have 5 turns to spin it, and if it lands on a quadrant that is not mine, so if I'm red and it lands on blue, that player has to go back to Battlestar Galactica. Basically, that player has to go back into the corner and start over. So if I do yellow, it's going to go move the player here. So it's a really nice card to have in that regard. Force field is also nice because the force field is going to move any opponent to a purple planet. So if say I have a Viper, I'm moving here, and player yellow uses the force field, he's going to move my player, the red player, to any planet he wants, and the Cylon stays in place. Same thing is true with the laser torpedoes. Cylon always stays in place while the player has to move back. So that's going to be challenging. These are the evasive action cards, and these are defensive cards. So the object of these cards is to block any player who uses either a force field or uses laser torpedoes on me. And you can only use up to 3 of them. So once you're out, you're out. But they're nice defensive cards to use strategically. So using all these cards and moving and getting the Cylon in place, it's an interesting game. And I hope you guys learned something new. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you soon. Take care.